Hi there, it's Lowell Edwards of the province, video edition of the fifth quarter Saturday night on a night in which the BC Lions defeat the Toronto Argonauts 23-17 before 27,000 and change at BC Place Stadium. The win that gives Wally Bono the career coaching record with his 232nd career victory tonight. A game that I guess the storyline really was probably the Lions defense, I think. 6 sacks in all, 3 from Ricky Foley. And a solid defensive effort all the way around. Corey Banks with 2 interceptions, certainly a standout after the busted coverage in Montreal, making amends for that particular play. The defense, all in all, really didn't give the Argonauts much of a chance whatsoever. Big win for the Lions because it gives them another leg up on a possible crossover. And right now they stand at 5 wins and 6 losses, and they're right in the thick of the West Division playoff chase. Offensively, of course, the all eyes are on Buck Pierce. Not a great game, but 171 yards passing. Had 55 yards rushing, I believe it was. Check that, it was 35 yards rushing for Buck Pierce. Took a real nasty shot at the end from Zeke Moreno, but showed his mettle once again. He left the game briefly with sore ribs and admitted after the game they were bothering him. So there's certainly some question as to the health of the Lion quarterbacks after the Jarius Jackson injury last week. As mentioned, Ricky Foley, Corey Banks were the defensive standouts. Not much really from an offensive standpoint for the Lions. I thought the key was a really great game plan on the part of the Lions coaching staff to get the ball out of the hands of Buck Pierce quickly so that he wouldn't withstand the possible hits that he would take. I think he did an excellent job in that regard. Wally Bono humble after the game, as you might expect, after getting the win. Don Matthews was there, sitting up in the press box. He did speak briefly to the media just before the game. Wally got a Gatorade shower, a little one, I guess. Jason Jimenez being the culprit, he admitted to it after the game. But it's the kind of win that will really stand the Lions in good stead because they ground one out. They didn't play particularly well, as mentioned, but they got the win, and they're not going to be pretty, I think, with this team all the way around. The quarterbacking situation, of course, is going to, I think, obviously give more question as to the availability and the status of free agent quarterback Casey Printers. 2 things we do know. Wally Bono and Casey Printers have spoken already. He said it wasn't going to take place until Sunday, but they have had some conversation. And also during the game, TSN reported that Printers has engaged the services of Gil Scott, who has a long history of representing players in the CFL. So obviously, from his perspective, he's getting a little more serious about what may or may not occur with the bruised ribs and Buck Pierce's overall health status. You have to think that the Lions are going to look at this a little more seriously, with not only an eye to this year, but I think towards 2010 as well. That's going to be a consideration. So lots to talk about in the week ahead with that in mind, but the Lions can look forward to their next game, a big one, in Calgary next Friday against the Stampeders, who lost, of course, against Hamilton this week. So that's shaping up to be a big game as well. And perhaps we'll find out some more about Casey Printers in the next day or two. I think it's something that'll probably play itself and take a few days for that to possibly happen. So again, the Lions win 23-17. They are now 5-6 on the season and have a chance to get to 500, as mentioned, Friday night in Calgary. That's the fifth quarter video edition.